Hello everyone, welcome. This is Russian Accent with Mike Overgreen. Thanks for being with us. Russian President Vladimir Putin confirmed Sunday the staff at US diplomatic missions in Russia will be cut in response to a sanctions bill the US Congress passed last week. US media said that was done in response to a sanction bill the US Congress passed last week, but that is not true. Earlier this week, the Deputy of Foreign Minister Sergey Ryabkov said, if the US side decides to move further toward further deterioration, we will answer, we will respond in kind, we will mirror this, we will retaliate. But my whole point is, don't do this, he said. It is to the detriment of the interest of the US. That happened after Vladimir Putin confirmed Sunday the staff at US diplomatic mission in Russia will be cut in response to when President Obama expelled 35 Russian diplomats and closed Russian compounds in Maryland and New York. But today I want to talk about the very beginning of this story. One of MSNBC's people came to Moscow to investigate.
I think we were so fascinated by this completely unexpected success, and it looked for them that Russia can be so important. We can do something which is, nobody expected that.
Did people at the Kremlin feel they were kingmakers?
I think so.
So as you just heard, people in Moscow suddenly, somehow, became very important. That's what the Russian contact said to the American columnist. That this gave the impression that Russia meddled in 2016 election campaign? Probably, but not necessarily. The reality could be completely different. But in case Russians did it, how come we still don't have a proof? National security agencies have said they will not prove it, because then Putin will know who those people are. Let's watch this.
Welcome back. In the language of spycraft, when an operation goes bad and an agent gets arrested by the other side, he's said to have been rolled up. But in this case, the Russians may be rolling up their own people as part of an operation to cover their tracks. And it's an operation that seems to have started as soon as we elected a new president.
So Putin rolled up his own people. That's what he said. He did it because he wanted to cover the tracks of meddling in US election. Is that what he said? But who are these guys? An American journalist gives us this information.
The first man was arrested last December at a Moscow airport as he was about to leave the country. Ruslan Stoyanov, former Russian government cybercrime expert who later joined Kaspersky Lab, where he led the investigative team.
Stoyanov was in charge of the biggest investigations against hackers in this country because he was really smart and because he provided, he happened to provide technical expertise by Kaspersky Lab to the security services.
Second, Stoyanov's contact at the FSB, Colonel Sergey Mikhailov, and the man responsible for all cybercrime investigations in Russia.
And because of his position inside of the FSB, he was seen as a kind of handler of the Russian internet.
He was arrested. His contact at Kaspersky Lab was arrested.
And his deputy was arrested.
Mikhailov's deputy was the third man the FSB arrested, Major Dmitry Dokuchayev, himself a former hacker.
He was known as a hacker, and then it looks like he was recruited by the FSB, and he became an officer of the FSB.
So he was a hacker turned spy.
Right.
Did you hear that? He said that guy was a hacker. but then he became a spy. And then, looks like. So nothing has been proven so far. So what is Putin trying to do? Western media and national security agencies are supposed to find the footprint, the tracks of a Russian invasion in election process. But Putin is supposed to hide these people because they have sensitive information about that if they were part of it. That's what they say. Watch another one.
Investigative journalist Andrei Soldatov is the author of The Red Web, a modern-day Bible on the Russian hacking and Secret Services underworld. But after every good party comes the hangover, or at least the cleanup. And Soldatov believes that since the election, Russian authorities have been scrambling to cover their tracks.
We got the containment phase, when all possible sources of information, of leaks about what actually happened on this side, the Kremlin started to shut down these things.
So the Kremlin is trying to get rid of the people who know too much.
Not just to get rid of them. The thing is how to prevent them from talking.
But being in prison, you have a lawyer, right? See what that lawyer said.
We managed to track down Ivan Pavlov, one of the lawyers in the case. He says that because of the nature of the charges, treason, he's not even allowed to tell us which man he's representing.
What specifically are they accused of having done?
It's not a clear accusation.
But is the general accusation that they cooperated with an American intelligence?
Yeah,
group?
they say about American Special Service.
Was the information related to the investigation into hacking, into the manipulation of the U.S. election?
I can't say this because it's a wish of my clients that I don't disclose these details of accusation.
Getting a definitive answer is now almost impossible because the three men and a fourth, who is reportedly a small-time cyber fraudster, are locked up in this notorious Moscow prison. Journalist Kogersin Sergeyeva is a member of a prison watchdog group and recently managed to get in and speak to Ruslan Stoyanov.
How did he seem when you were talking to him? Did he seem relaxed? Did he seem frightened? Did he seem sick?
He is truly disappointed, she says. Stoyanov spent his whole life helping our country fight criminals, and now he's accused of being a criminal himself. The men deny the treason charges. The lawyer says they were arrested not because of what they've done, but for what they know.
They know much about something that FSB wants to cover.
So you think they're being held because they know information?
They know much. I can't be completely clear with you and say much about this case because it's quite dangerous. It's quite dangerous as for me, as for my client, and even for you.
Why would it be dangerous for me? I understand for your client, he's in jail.
It's a quite sensitive information.
In the spying game, when they talk about rolling up an agent who knows too much, this is what they mean.
So it is too dangerous, and it looks like they are in prison because they know too much, right? Let's see what the lawyer said at the beginning. Once again.
One of the lawyers in the case. He says that because of the nature of the charges, treason, he's not even allowed to tell us which man he's representing.
What specifically are they accused of having done?
It's not a clear accusation.
But is the general accusation that they cooperated with an American intelligence?
Yeah,
group?
they say about American Special Service.
Was the information related to the investigation into hacking, into the manipulation of the U.S. election?
I can't say this.
So as you just heard, 3 were arrested because they were cooperating with American Special Services. And this is related to the election campaign. But If they are working for the Russian government, how were they cooperating with American special services? They are not allowed, usually. Here's what I think about it. Number one, they are definitely not working for the government or the FSB. Because if that were the case, they would have signed form banning them from leaving the country, and they're supposed to know that. They would know that they are on the stop list and wouldn't be able to pass border control. The American columnist met the lawyer with no problem. But in a situation where the case involves sensitive information, it is not possible to meet and talk to anybody like that. Both of them would be arrested. It is likely the American columnist tried to call the lawyer by phone to arrange this meeting. Additionally, the lawyer's phone was supposed to be restricted or be under control, but it was not. Most likely, at least one of these three guys is an American spy. The Russians are pushing the Americans to disclose this information to prove their claim of Russian involvement in the election. And then they start talking. The Russians will pull these guys out and let them start telling the real story, where they participated in the election interference because an American agency hired them to break in, interfere, to expose the Democratic Party's server to hacker attacks. We are approaching this part to the pre-election show. Watch next one.
That Russia had no right to try and interfere with the U.S. political process.
That's nonsense, because we have no reason to do that, and it is not possible to change the American political system.
Are you saying that Russia didn't try and influence U.S. elections?
Russia,
or lots of countries, including the U.S., have done this kind of thing before?
Russia as a state, of course not. Russia as a state. I cannot say anything about each of 145 million people. That is not possible.
So, in my opinion, it could be Russians, or it might not be. But if this is the case, then those Russians were serving the American Secret Service, who hired these experienced people to hack the server from within the Russian heartland to leave a trial. Thanks for being with us. See you soon.